Was passiert, wenn die Polizei uns abholt? Werden wir auch abgeschoben? Wieso müssen wir Deutschland verlassen? Geduldet oder nicht geduldet?
The Yugoslav wars caused hundreds of thousands of people to flee from violence, many of them westwards. It has been estimated that 50,000 Roma escaped from Kosovo to Germany. The German authorities, schools, and other public institutions have made efforts to integrate these families. But these investments are now in danger of being wasted. Currently, 12,000 Kosovo Roma living in Germany have tolerated status and can be repatriated by force over the coming years in accordance with Germany's readmission agreement with Kosovo. Over half of them are children. Almost 2/3 of these children were born and have grown up in Germany. They have never been to Kosovo.
Kosovo has been a country where a lot of people have left in different waves. There have been those who left in the 60s as guest workers, then there have been those who fled from the economic and political repression in the early 90s, and there have been those that left during and after the war because they wanted to escape war. So a lot of people have left the country. Germany has been one of the countries receiving an enormous amount of Kosovar refugees throughout these different periods. So Germany has been very generous in the 90s in particular, receiving people that arrived there and had offered in return a so-called status that was called Duldung, or toleration status. It was very unique. It doesn't exist in any other country. And it was a special provision that the German law community introduced to allow the state to be able to send people back once the situation in the countries where they came from has improved. Many of these families, and we have found in our research, have lived in Germany now on average for 14 years, but they have never gotten the right to stay.
Anita was born in Germany to parents who fled Kosovo during the war in 1999. She is one of more than 6,000 Roma children who are to be deported to Kosovo in the coming years. Despite being disadvantaged from the start, Anita, like most of the children from Roma families born and brought up in Germany, is completely integrated in her school, town, and circle of friends.
Mein Opa ist krank geworden vom Abschiebung, als er gehört hat, als dass mein Onkel Abschiebung bekommen hat. Dann hat diese Krankheit erst angefangen, der hat Herzinfarkt bekommen und mein Onkel wurde danach abgeschoben. Wir wissen jetzt gar nicht, wo der ist und das hat mich auf die Idee gebracht, Medizin zu studieren, damit ich Menschen helfen kann, die Hilfe brauchen.
Ein Kind ist ja im Inbegriff zu wachsen und zu reifen. Es sieht den Zustand der Eltern, es sieht die Unsicherheit der Eltern und wird in seiner Entwicklung dementsprechend auch durch diesen Stress der Eltern, durch die Unsicherheit, durch das Unbewusste, vielleicht auch durch die Stressstörung begründete Verhaltensänderung der Eltern beeinflusst.
Eine 1 geschrieben, schön. Nee. ni sada na te čudilo ni Kosovo. Anglono gjiveni gjën lam su zna qilë kuja singal. Amin dali beshlamani odvojnë është të mende. Veç kanë shundam kaj përmeni qëra, jak. Të gjën lam më datë këtë da ka gjasë qilima një vojska. Kanë si kritično. Kaj më denë singal. Jo dytu nga qi. Isto shundam i sfirena një gjëna kasë këtë gareva. Dari të dolla men moti më datë, dari të muqolla men, dari peti garevol, dari peda dena solo. Veç ka ndikap habën dhe qëra një mahala, një gjangdoll një kohal, një kopioll, kona shol. Ka gjata men duj qonë të epash, svako gjivja shuna këna, koka ushtoll sabalim gjëdo, koka me ojo. Dilema në ostën në behërë dhe të përgjim më tullëdum. I më nga në përgjështa dhe më gjekë qonë. Me më nglem të përgjim më gjë majbut. Ja të denë më ofen talë, ja. Kanë qik pava këtë një nemë shko. Në më gjën të denë kohë që dhe të me të të gjanë një Kosovo. Të me gjën najë nisë le dujilë ofen talë. E sosi nisë le dujilë një më të demë që. I dalë sa ma qef të dobimo ofen të zaposlima, të dikavimi pavda këta një nema qëka. I më zhivo të sosi sonaj.
I think there should be a limit on how long people have to wait before they are recognized. In many countries today, you get the citizenship when you have been in the country 5 or 6 or 7 years. That is a much better policy and keep them on a sort of tolerant status for years and years with the continued insecurity that you will have, knowing that any day you could be visited by the police and sent back against your own will.
Ich habe deutsche Freunde. Ich bin in Deutschland geboren. Ich will in Deutschland meine Schule zu Ende machen. Dann will ich noch in der Zukunft arbeiten. Ich bin einfach eine Deutsche.
Well, before signing a readmission agreement, the Kosovo government, of course, had to also demonstrate or had to say that it would be ready to receive. So there was a strategy for the reintegration of persons repatriated from abroad. That strategy foresaw a number of provisions and actions. In practice, of course, this strategy existed only on paper. And nobody, none of the line ministries and none of the municipalities would do what they were supposed to do. There was also no budget foreseen. Only 100,000 euros were foreseen by the Ministry of Labour and Social Welfare to provide temporary housing for up to 7 days. The German authorities, on the other hand, they said, there's a strategy, there's a budget, they didn't look carefully, and Kosovo is ready to take back anyone. They were very eager to send back a lot of people. And because most of these people that are being returned from Germany are being repatriated by force, against their will, all the available international organizations in Kosovo, whether it's UNHCR or IOM or other organizations, did not want to help them, because their position had always been, we are against forced repatriation, so anyone who comes back by force will not receive help.
Also zuerst wusste ich gar nichts, dass ich hierher kommen muss. Meine Mutter hat es mir verschwiegen. Also ich wusste erst nichts. Ne? Dann 2 Tage früher, wo wir fuhren, hat sie mir erzählt, dass wir nach Kosovo müssen. Also ich hatte sehr einen Schock und das war ja sehr schrecklich, dass ich nach Kosovo musste. Ich heiße Sedat Hassani, bin 14 Jahre alt, bin am 7.01.1997 geboren in Gern in Deutschland. Nach der Grundschule war ich nach Hemming KGS. Dann habe ich erfahren, dass wir nach Kosovo reisen müssen. Ja, und diese Situation, dass wir hier sind, die ist richtig schlecht.
Nasmia and his brother Sedat were born in Germany to parents who left Kosovo in the early 90s. In the fall of 2009, Halime Hassani, the children's mother's tolerated status, was not extended and she was deported to Kosovo along with her 2 children, leaving their father and older brothers behind. For lack of alternatives, the family ended up living in one of the camps for internally displaced people in North Kosovo. Here, they are confronted with an entirely new reality. Like 3 out of 4 children deported from Germany to Kosovo, Nasmia and Sedat are effectively excluded from the Kosovan school system. According to current policies, the 2 children have no chance of being able to return to their home in Germany.
Until 2009, the German government deemed the situation in Kosovo not safe enough for Roma, Ashkali and Egyptians to be sent back. In 2009, there was a shift. The German authorities said that there's no more a security threat, there's no direct threat to life, so the reason for a Duldung is no longer there. So now, after having sent back thousands of Albanians, after having started to send back Serbs, now also we are going to send back Roma, Ashkali and Egyptians. In Kosovo, on the other hand, you had a new state, a government that had declared independence, that wanted to demonstrate to the outside world that it was mature, that it can take on international obligations, that it is a partner. The biggest motivation was that a readmission agreement is a precondition for any country in the Balkans to enter a process where you discuss about reforms and reforms that would eventually lead to visa liberalization. Under Yugoslavia, everybody was able to travel, take their bag, get on the train and go to Vienna or Germany. During the wars, this has ended. People in the region have felt like in a big cage. And when the EU promised that visa liberalization was again possible, that people could again come to Europe as tourists without having to queue, without having to pay, without having to show that they have enough money on their bank account, a health insurance, an invitation letter, it's very, very hard for people to obtain a visa and to visit their family, a hospital, a business trip, a partner, to go to university. So everybody wanted that.
Wenn es Arbeit gibt, hacke ich Holz bis zu 7 Meter, 5, bis zu 10 Meter. Mit meinem Bruder. Für 10 Meter kriegt man 30 Euro. Für 5 Meter kriegt man 10 Euro, 18 Euro. Nee, 15 Euro. Ja, und für 1 Meter kriegt man 3 Euro.
Die beiden Kinder haben eben Hilfestellung bekommen, wo sie gebraucht haben. Und dann haben sie hier ihre Schule eigentlich gut absolviert. Wir waren mit ihren Leistungen dann zufrieden. Und das hat uns ganz stolz gemacht, dass wir die beiden auf einen guten Weg gebracht haben.
Ich bin in Deutschland nach Schule gegangen. Ich war da bis zur 4. Klasse. 3, 4 Monate nach 3, 4 Monaten musste ich zur 5. Aber jetzt ging ich nicht zur 5. Ich gehe hier nicht in Kosovo in der Schule. Die nehmen mich gar nicht an. Weil ich erstens nicht die Sprache kann, zweitens nehmen sie nicht mich an und ich kann nicht ihre Schrift schreiben.
Hey, Sedat Mia.
हाँ
Kana so gentleman, sarsan kaya.
हाँ कते बिशामिल जी
So de tu menje das, kana sehen als sie dort auf der Straße wird.
die haben gesagt, du bist nicht unser Mann, geh einfach weg und wollten sie uns schlagen.
Aber warum?
Ja, die sagen, du bist nicht unser Mann, ja, wie soll ich das erklären?
Habt ihr dem was angetan?
Wir haben sie nichts angetan, die sind einfach gekommen und haben gesagt, wenn du kein Serbisch kannst, dann bist du auch nicht unser Mann, also geh wieder zu deinem Land zurück und wollten uns schlagen.
Mhm. Und die Albaner?
Die Albaner sagen auch so.
Čapal katara majcikno na svoj pisu si je gripo, a mende kate najkančka je gripo, le du kokre hat. Hamakote as kol kokre najden. Bekov gripo šaj te avoli maj džungari, te so džane šaj te merenvon. Kasen te sil? Kanika? So se pa von si Roma.
I think the governments in Europe would like to get rid of Roma who have fled from Kosovo almost at any price. They should stop this policy of deportations until it's clear that those who go back will go back voluntarily. So the voluntary aspect of repatriation, I think, is absolutely crucial. For them to understand the real issues here, I think the decision makers, including politicians, they must come closer to the realities. They should go to Kosovo and see how the situation is there for those who have been returned, who still dream of coming back to Germany. Young people who talk German, who feel German, who have very little contact with the new society, don't understand children in the same age, and talk with them and try to understand what it means for them to be subject to this policy. Then, if they do that, I think they will begin to rethink, because this is absolutely unnecessary, and we should be able to cope in Europe at our age now to avoid this kind of cruelty against young people.
Mia, Mimi, Mia, pusti. Hier ist kein Leben, hier muss man arbeiten. Hier muss man sich Metall verkaufen, und damit man was kaufen kann. Hier ist es nicht so gut, hier verdient man nicht so viel. Hier ich sehe, wie ich reinkomme bei meinem Haus, also in Deutschland. Erstens würde ich meinen Vater umarmen und dann meine Brüder. Und dann sehe ich noch, wie ich sitze und einen Tee trinke und mich sehr freue, in Deutschland zu sein. Und ja.
Ogajen sharen sa amar choren kaite nasha kaite garadia olendar an Evropa avila Azli rodinjam Ratite ova sarienda An Evropa avilam Azli rodinjam Ratite ova sarienda Te čuden man, ko Kosovo te mudaren man. So te kjerëv mi daj, kaj te në shav modat, pale aci lumë sërqëron, Pedro man. So te kjerëv mi daj, kaj te në shav modat, pale aci lumë sërqëron, Pedro